The executive orders recognize the fact that the country needs as much electricity as we can get right now. We're in a growth period, and we're looking to solve that as quickly as possible on behalf of our customers. We serve, all the hyperscaler data centers. We serve guys like CoreWeave, Mike was on in front of me, as customers in very large electric loads and growing with an almost insatiable demand. I think the polios are a short-term potential benefit. Longer term, these are 50, 60-year-old assets anyway. We've got newer forms of generation and more cost-effective forms of generation. We have wind, we have solar, we have storage. Long term, we'd like to see more nuclear energy deployed in the United States. I'm a recovering nuclear engineer and an ex-Navy guy. And I'd like to see more nuclear to replace the existing fleet, which serves almost 20% of our energy today with always available carbon-free energy. And then we've got all this great new technology in nuclear under development, which is probably 5 to 10 years away. So this could serve as a bridge to that. But in the short term, we're going to see more gas, more wind, and more solar because it's available. Mm-hmm. And in the long term, I think we're going to see new forms of technology, nuclear, geothermal, maybe some storage and sequestration tech, and a continued push into wind and solar.
But not a big renaissance for coal coming from what you can tell.
No, I think we have 40 gigawatts of coal scheduled to shut down in the next half a decade, and we need almost 400 gigawatts of generation. So it scratches the surface and for a short period of time until we can get, these supply chains for either natural gas or wind or solar storage ramped up to meet the demand that we see on the horizon.
Can you just unpack
the category that we think about in terms of exposure to is really the battery side of the equation. It's still largely a Chinese-dominated supply chain, though not exclusively. And we'd expect with tariff actions like we see that supply chain is also relatively fluid and dynamic and can relocate itself predominantly outside of China, maybe to Southeast Asia, maybe as far as the United States. If we had some tariff and trade certainty, I think you'd see more manufacturing domestically.
And I think the battery situation is really interesting because that's very closely linked to
industry to bring down. We keep a lot of electricity in backup forms of backup generation to make sure that when the sun shines, it gets hot, we have load swings, that we have generation to serve that. And batteries have long been a goal of the industry to sort of level out that need. It is an enabler of renewables because you don't always need the electricity when the wind blows and the sun shines, and you want to store it. But storage is something we've been working on as an industry, and we've been thinking about as the holy grail for decades. We've gotten really advanced in lithium-ion over the last half a decade or so, largely driven by the needs for electric vehicles. But the beauty of lithium-ion is it's got a high energy density, and it's great for batteries and phones and cars. We actually don't need that kind of energy density on the grid. We have plenty of real estate to put batteries on. We're actually working on a new technology. It's an iron oxide battery made by Form Energy that is domestically manufactured. It is 100 hours in duration and looks to be a great asset category for us as a company and electric companies across the world to really step into if we can make this technology work effectively.
Okay.